Hi, everybody. It's Aaron Scott here. We're going to take a look at the month of March astrologically, and we're going to focus in on this week because we have some action happening this week. Okay, so this will be short and sweet. We're going to get right to the point. But before we do, I wanted to show you this beautiful image here of this canopy of trees, in addition, of course, to my desktop here. But I just thought this was so beautiful. So let's take a look first at the summary for March. Okay. I just wrote down some of the basics here. So during this month, throughout this month, in fact, up until about the 26th of this month, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, we're going to be in this continued cycle called Kalsarpa. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So the entirety essentially of this month, Kalsarpa continues. We began the year with it. So we've had it, it will have occurred for this 3-month cycle. March 1st. So, where is the moon when we start this month? Well, the moon is in Libra. So, it's going to be interesting to see if we have, kind of a focus, an emotional focus on relationships. How are relationships feeling supportive or not supportive? How are relationships feeling engaged or not engaged? And when I say relationships, I'm also talking about you and how you're engaging with people as well. So this might be a natural focus here. There might be certain desires for relationships emerging. Maybe you want more intimacy, more connectedness, more like-mindedness, more like-heartedness, more cooperation, more fairness, dynamic equilibrium, etc. Yeah. So with regards to the month starting with the moon in Libra, perhaps relationships will become a spotlight or a highlight for us, okay? This week, which is one of the things I'm going to talk to you about, Mars is entering Gemini. So there's a new energetic driver and a motivation. Um, it's going to be very much focused on people. Gemini is going to bring up networks and socializing and the interplay of talking with siblings, perhaps, neighbors, perhaps, but certainly just people, right? Teamworks of people, groups of people, small groups of friends, people that you are networked with, maybe online networks, etc. But curiosity, learning, things like this, this is also going to come up. So we'll talk about that specifically in the chart that I pulled up. We have a new moon in Pisces happening at 23 degrees on the 13th of March. And of course, when we come up to that point, I'll go ahead and do an analysis of the dynamics of that particular moon. Obviously, for any of you that have any planets located at or around 23 degrees Pisces, this is an area for you that will be impacted. There are new things emerging, there are new things happening, but these things are not happening to you, right? I mean, they are happening. The potentials are activated naturally for this cycle, but you are going to have to participate in this process. So, for those of you that have planetary alignments around this point, or indeed on this point, this is a new moon, new seeding time naturally, not simply for the month ahead, but for a bigger cycle of time, okay? So we'll talk more about that when we get closer to that point. Then on the 15th of March, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So this is going to bring a different focus. Our minds, our mental focus is going to be changed. And it's obviously when Mercury ends up going over Neptune, that's going to create a lot of other dynamics. And again, we're going to talk about that as we get toward that point mid-month. March 20th, we have our equinox point. So spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, fall equinox in the southern. And of course, the sun is entering Aries. So we have this really the new year. This is the point of the new year beginning. Okay. And then we end the month with the full moon in Libra. Now, the interesting thing that I want to point out, everybody, is that we start the month with the moon in Libra, and essentially we're ending the month with the full moon in Libra, right? So we have this kind of, let's say, relationship theme or focus the desire for a heightened or elevated dynamic with relationship, more health in relationship dynamic, etc., bookending the month, right? So let's start with talking about the Kalsarpa, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and shrink this. We'll go ahead and shrink that too. I am going to pull up this point. Now, I want to show you. So if we go back to the end of December 2020, so on the 30th, you're going to notice the placement of Venus. Now, I've pulled up an Eastern chart, noontime chart for the 30th of December. Okay, so you're going to see that Venus is located just before the South Node. Now, I want you for right now to ignore the moon because the moon moves quickly every 2.5 days through a sign. You're going to notice that the moon will move into this netted position every 2 weeks of the month for this 3-month cycle. But ignore the moon for right now. I want you to focus on Venus, okay? So if we go to the 31st of December, noon Eastern time, you're going to notice that Venus moved past that south node. The south node of the moon was at 19 degrees 53 minutes Sagittarius, essentially at the point of shift or at the point of movement, okay? So this is what I want you to understand is that for those of you unaware, because a lot of you already know what Kalsarpa is, but we go through these periods where essentially all of the major planets are uh, netted between or encapsulated between the nodes. Okay. Now, the moon obviously moves very quickly. So you're going to notice that because we're going to go through and I'm going to show you we essentially what I want you to understand is that Venus is the planet that began the Kalsarpa. Venus is. Now, Venus obviously rules many different things. It governs many different things. Relationships is one. And so as we're entering March with the moon in Libra, we're in this last month of this 3-month Kalsarpa process. Venus, in fact, was the planet to initiate the Kalsarpa process. So what the Kalsarpa cycle can talk about is fated or correct process, that there will be things that occur within this first 3 months of 2021 that are simply correct. They need to occur, they must occur, they're set up to occur in order to catalyze the necessary potentials to unleash new growth or new awarenesses, new awakenings that have to happen. With regards to Venus, there's issues with regards to people, relationships, fairness, justice issues. Also, with regards to money and finances, with regards to abundance, with regards to issues of comfort, feeling loved and feeling valuable, initiating your own creative juice, right? So, for a lot of you, this has been a time of you having to access your creative juice. Well, it's still activated for the month of March, okay? So what I want to point out is that your ethic, your ethos, your value system, your sense of self-worth, issues of money and abundance and finances, issues of relationships, fairness, harmony, dynamic equilibrium, all of these topics are up for this first 3 months of 2021. Okay. Now, if we continue going through this this next 3 months, just notice now, right now, obviously you can see that the moon has entered the net, okay, but every 2 weeks of the month it's going to exit the net. But here we are, we're in the middle of January, okay. And when we entered February, you can see that the moon was over here in Libra. See? Now I'm just noticing that, right? So as of the 1st of February at noon Eastern time, the moon was in Libra. So we're starting this Venusian Kalsarpa process. And listen, not everybody's going to agree with me on that. I'm calling it a Kalsarpa that's really focused on Venus because that was the planet that created the process. It was the one that transited past that south node of the moon, okay? But here we are, the beginning of February, we also had that Libra moon. Isn't that interesting? I'm just noticing that, okay? So here we keep going, and we went through February, okay? And here we are, today is the 28th. Okay, so here we are at the 28th. You can see that again, all the planets are webbed in between the nodes, except for the moon, which again pops into that web every, 2 weeks of each one of these 3 months. Okay, but what I want to show you is this, everybody. So just stay with me for a minute here. So if we keep going, I want to show you what breaks the Kalsarpa. It's Mars, okay? So Mars, when we get up to the 26th of March, so the end of this month, you can see as of the 26th of March, okay, which is on a Friday, you can see that Mars is the planet that's going to go past the north node of the moon. So, in other words, the Kalsarpa began with Venus and it's ending with Mars. So, Mars is going to break it. Now, that can easily talk about new action sets. Because it's in Gemini, there can be new mindsets or new focuses of the mind with regards to new networks, new social networks, new curiosities, new learnings, new information that's driving, new planning, new strategies that's driving forward movement here. So I want you to understand that throughout the majority of this month, we are still in Kalsarpa. There are people that you will meet. There will be circumstances that will play out, that will be correct, that are part and parcel to your next stage. Okay, so let's pull up this Gemini, or this Mars chart, because what we have happening this week, because I'm focusing really on the energetics this week, is we have Mars here, okay, at 0 degrees Gemini, right? So as of the 3rd, this is this coming Wednesday, Mars is moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So let's take a look from the perspective of um, the energies itself. So, how are the energies going to be focused? Okay, what's the signature for the energies at this time? Okay, let me well, no, I'll leave it up here. Okay. Okay, so with regards to the energetics, we have, first of all, the energetics are in Gemini. So as I was starting to explain with the Kalsarpa chart, there's going to be a new drive. There's going to be a new drive to communicate, a new drive to learn, a new drive to gather data or information, a new drive to plan or strategize. This particular chart has Mars on the ascendant point, because for this version, I want to look at the energetics through the position of the energetics. So where are the energetics focused? Well, the energetics are focused on the native. In other words, the energetics are focused on you. It's focused on your physical body. It's focused on exercising. You might find that, for those of you that may have made, for example, New Year's resolutions to get in shape or to exercise or to move your body, you might find that it actually starts to get truly initiated at the end of March or in April. So the focus, the energetic focus, might really be on the energy of the body, the physicality of the body, but it's also going to be more of a drive to communicate, from your own mindset, from your own perspective, from your own learnings. What is it that you know? This is where the North Node is also located, right? First house, Gemini, 15-degree Gemini, North Node of the moon, right? So, um, so this is really where the growth edge is. The energetics are that your evolution and maturity is all about the development of a construct of identity and a sense of confidence. What are your passions, and what is it that's correct for you? This is where the mind is to grow into a new level of focus. Okay, versus what we have over here is a pattern of, let's say, believing what others say is correct for you. Here, the growth edge is understanding and listening to and heeding your own call to action. And there is new action being driven within you. Okay. So a new action to be and to grow and to elicit your own construct of identity, something that is a more confident version of yourself. Okay. The energetics are also uh, squaring this point, which is your path forward, the goals for your path, the goals for your career. So we have this kind of, and it's, here's Pallas Athena. Um, we have Venus also up here, which is part of the square formation. So we have Mars squaring Venus. Here, there can be a goal and a desire for imagining the ideal path forward, imagining the ideal monetary pathways, the financial resources that are something that you desire. You're wanting to create new levels of comfort. Your desire is to create new level of harmony with your work, with your career, matching your inner and your inner desires with your outer expression. That is where your value is located. It is a goal for you to make money and earn income that feels right and comfortable for you, that, very much replicates your sense of self-worth and self-value. Okay. So there is a bit of this kind of tension. You're wanting to take movement, you're wanting to, move in a new direction. Here, there's this kind of, this narrative of moving in your evolved direction, evolving your, again, your construct of identity, but also your sense of confidence and what it is that you're impassioned about. So there is this kind of friction which is activating some sort of movement. There is a bit of confusion still, though, because the sun is now approaching Neptune. So there might be a bit of confusion about your career, about the aligned path, about your goals. So there's still a bit of confusion, but if you open up, if you allow inspiration to have a vehicle to enter into, then you can get the clarity to move forward. Okay. By the way, you're going to notice that at the point when Mars enters Gemini, the moon is in Virgo, correlated with the sixth house. So we have the moon, excuse me, Scorpio. So we have the moon in Scorpio in the sixth house. Okay. What this is talking about here is transformation with your day to day routine, transformation with your health. Your desire is to transform your health. Your desire is to transform your career or your work. Your work. Your desire is to transform your day-to-day pattern or day-to-day physical reality. Do you understand? So there is a drive. There is something new with regards to health and body. There is something new with going toward your passions, possibly going in a new direction with courage. Maybe some sort of movement as well. There can be action being taken with regards to movement. Even for some of you, possibly even with like vehicles. And I'll talk to you about that when we pull up this next chart. So, but there is transformation with work, there is transformation with your daily routine, and there is transformation with your health. And what I would say is you want to pay attention to that. You want to pay attention to that. This particular moon is squaring Jupiter and Mercury. Mercury is at a karmic degree here. So there's this aspect here of the need. The desire is to, let's say, up level your health and well-being, your whole system health. Well, to do that, you're going to have to open your mind past what you already know. So, new learnings to be had with regards to your health. Um yeah. Yeah, and even with Neptune on the sun, there can be this kind of aspect of ignoring aspects of self, ignoring your will, dissipating your own uh, personality for the sake of some ideological goal. And so this can also impact you as a person, right? You as a physical person here, as a human. So there is this kind of attention to your body, desire for health and wholeness of your mind body system, and a new value of who you are, imagining the new person and the new goal. There's a new goal that the ideal version of yourself is part of your value system that you're wanting to create as well. Do you understand? Here too, we have Pluto in this eighth house, right? So, and it's ruled by Capricorn. Again, everybody, Capricorn, eighth house correlation, Scorpio, sixth house correlation. There's a desire to kill off and rebuild your work in a new way. Here, eighth house is ruled by Capricorn. So, and with Pluto in it. So, what we're talking about here is the death of the career. Old goals are dying away, new goals are being rebuilt. What is your natural alignment? For those of you who have not gotten your natal analysis, in-depth analysis yet from me, you can be in touch for that. All the links are below. There's also a career alignment analysis as well, okay? So, yeah, it's a juicy time. Now, let's pull up the next chart here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, you know what, everybody? I didn't pull up the other chart, but that's all right. What I was going to point up is the sun located at the ascendant point. So I'll just show you what it is that I'm seeing with that version of the chart. With the sun at the ascendant point, so imagine the sun here, Mars is actually down here in the third house, very close to the root system, very close to the IC point. What I want to point out is that from your own perspective, the drive for you indeed is going to be about networking. It's going to be about curiosity and pursuing information. There could be planning and strategy that's going to be activated for you as it relates to information that you need to imbibe in order for you to move forward. Okay, so I wanted to point that out. If we look at the moon's position is up in that ninth house. Okay, so we have first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. This is actually, I think, in the eighth. Maybe it's in the 10th. Let me see. So we have the 13-degree moon at the ascendant point, and this is 18 degrees. So I apologize, but this is essentially at the MC point, right? So the desire is to transform the career. The desire naturally for the sun at the ascendant point is to um, transform and upgrade ultimately, but there's some sort of a death rebirth process as it relates to the entirety of your life, not just your career and not just your path forward, but actually your lifestyle and the whole of your life. So, what are your goals in general that you have for your life? There's transformation occurring here, and the desire is to create that death rebirth process. Okay. At the same time, there's aspects here of releasing old beliefs about career, releasing old beliefs about what you thought it meant to be accomplished or to have achieved, uh, you know, achieved success in the world. What are your beliefs about failure? What are your beliefs as it relates to comparison, comparing yourself to other people? So, all of these things are going to be naturally activated for the month of March. And again, on the third, so we have 3 3 when Mars moves into the Gemini cycle. And of course, Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac wheel here, right? It's the third archetypal process here in this wheel of, living process. Okay. So Gemini is 3. It's happening on 3 3. So there's this level of the energetics of 3 that's naturally activated, and 3 talks about one with another creating a new birth, right? So we have the individual, we have the coupling, and then we have from yourself engaging with another or engaging with an idea or an inspiration. There is a new birth. There's some new creative birth. Either it's two people coming together to create a child, a baby, or it's two things coming together to create some new energetic, a new signature. And that new signature can be a project, a creative venture, a new idea or dynamic that's going to impact or create something, an idea that gets formed that's going to impact a greater collective of people or a group of people. It could be a team coming together. Mars and Gemini could also be the initiation of some sort of a team or an initiation of some sort of collaboration, right? And three speaks to that. Three is teamwork, it is collaboration, it is creativity, it's certainly communication. Um, but all of those things could be activated for this month, right? And again, we'll talk about more. Let me close that down. So we'll talk about more as the month goes on, as we come up into these other points. The new moon, Mercury, certainly the equinox point, and then the full moon at the end of the month. Okay? So I hope that this was helpful, everybody. I send you much love for your week ahead, and certainly for this initiation for your month ahead. For those interested in staying in contact with regards to potential sales that I'm going to be offering this month on natal charts, for example, a natal analysis, you can go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter. You can find all those links below. All right? Much love. Bye-bye.